Hi, my name is Janine Johnson, and I am the host of the Green Table Talk. Jaleesa, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to share my story.
You donated your liver, Ian, to Jessica.
Like, I listed everything and he just turned and looked at me and was like, okay.
Continue doing you, continue raising awareness, continue to make everybody feel good and feel comfortable speaking out for themselves. Welcome to the Green Table Talk. I am your host, Janine Johnson. Today, I have my beautiful friend, Cassandra Francis, here with me. Cassandra, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here.
Thank you. I'm glad you made it. Cassandra, as you know, we'll be talking about mental health and the ACB community. But before we dive into that, I need to let everybody know about you to make sure I didn't miss anything. I wrote out a little note here because you do a lot. Yes. So we got to give credit to where credit is due.
Thank you.
Cassandra is the founder of One Piece Therapy, but she's also the clinical director, clinical supervisor, registered psychotherapist, trauma-informed yoga practitioner, group facilitator, and international keynote speaker. Plus, she managed to squeeze in this interview. So I am extremely grateful.
I am grateful. Thank you, Janine. It's honestly a pleasure to be here.
Well, I'm glad you made it. So tell me about One Piece Therapy. How did this come about?
So my journey started out in the physical health realm. Well, to be fair, let me go a little bit back. I wanted to be a professional dancer.
Oh, okay.
Yes, that has been my dream. It's still close to heart. I was dancing as a child and a youth, but then it came to the point where my parents asked me, what do you want to be when you grow up?
Mm.
And I felt like I knew the answer, but you can read their so I'm from a Jamaican household. Proper disclaimer.
Mm-hmm.
And dancing as a profession was not seen as acceptable. They were like, you know what, you need something that pays the bills. It was a nice extracurricular, but let's see what we can do in a different realm.
Not as lucrative, basically. Doesn't make as much money.
Then.
Yes, exactly.
Then, now we know that TikTok creates a lot of different 5 steps.
Yes.
Make millions. So then it wasn't as lucrative.
Yes.
But it did cause me to be here. So I'm definitely grateful. So after thinking about, what do I want to do, I tapped into the physical health realm, in particular with physiotherapy. Since I was familiar with the body, I was like, okay, let me continue to explore the body, see what it can do, how it recovers, just really learning the biology of what our bodies can do, and the mechanics. And I was a physiotherapist assistant at Sunnybrook for a short while. And it was in that role that I discovered mental health and psychology. I found so much more fulfillment in having the conversations about, the life transition after a major surgery, for example, or the grief, the identity. Like, I was so fascinated by the mind, and I quickly became captivated by how speaking to the mind can change someone's process of recovery than simply, the exercises, even though, of course, those are still very impactful. So once I discovered psychology, I started to delve into psychology and became quite, yes, excited, but also overwhelmed of how much there was in the field, and also how much the field causes you to reflect on yourself. It was also at that point that I realized that, oh, I have mental health. I didn't know I have, attachment concerns. I didn't know I have certain levels of trauma or identity. Like, there's things that I was not aware of until I start to educate myself for other people.
Yes.
About it. And that journey has been still in that journey. It's been so rewarding. Um, and with the different environments that I was exposed to while trying to figure out what part of psychology or what type of practitioner in psychology do I want to be, I quickly realized that I want to start my own practice. I find I've been in a lot of valuable spaces, but I find that the mission that I signed on to isn't necessarily the mission that is executed, especially for Black people and people of color, which is what I love, who I love to support. And therefore, One Piece Therapy embodies my journey of tapping into physical health, mental health, cultural sensitivity, and just the holistic nature that is so crucial to supporting our people. And across all ages, we support people 10 and older, which will shortly change to younger than that. But right now it's 10 and older because we need people that look like us to support us. Otherwise, the needs.
We're just stuck because you don't feel comfortable going anywhere else.
Exactly. Exactly. And that is how One Piece Therapy came to be.
That is beautiful. I love that. I love that. That is amazing.
Thank you.
So from dancer to helping others, that's it. It's although dancing was your love, this has quickly become your love because you're giving back and you're helping others, which is amazing. And you, like you said, you discovered about yourself as well, right?
Yeah.
About yourself as well. And we never, ever, especially growing up, I'm from a Trinidadian background, we never talked about trauma, or we never talked about, residual trauma or things that can come up after the fact. Years later, we've never even imagined any of this happening. So this is very important, what you're doing. So thank you.
Thank you, Janine. Thank you. I appreciate that. I even noticed a big change from, when I started and saying, oh, I want to study psychology. And people are like, why are you doing that?
Yes.
Like,
yes.
What is there? Like, what is that?
Mm-hmm.
And then now when I say, oh, I'm in the psychology field, I'm a psychotherapist, like, wow, that is so, it's like, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Where were you?
Yeah, exactly. Now it seems relevant, right?
Now it seems relevant.
Right.
Yeah. Right.
So in your field, do you see a lot of Black men coming in asking for help, or is that still kind of taboo and they're shy about it and they're kind of like, yeah, I'm asking for a friend of a friend, or like what do you see in that area?
Yeah, so we do get Black men seeking support, but it doesn't represent the need that is actually there. So yes, they are seeking support, but it's usually in a crisis manner when things have intensified, and not a proactive manner. We've also noticed that when they do seek support, they're still typically taboo, or even skeptical, like I'm here, but convince me why I should stay. So there is still the level of armor or a stigma that is embedded in how they show up. But they are showing up.
Which is great.
They are showing up, definitely. I find older Black men more so have the taboo nature and the stigma still, like, I'm not convinced, or I'm not comfortable, or I'm just simply not going to do it. Whereas younger Black males, not even just children, but like young adults, are becoming more open to talking about their emotional well-being. So there's wins, but there's
still more to
nature is still, it's still there.
What do you think that is? What do you think that that stigma is still there, especially with the older Black men, as you mentioned? I know the younger one, it could be they're doing it, because their girlfriend's kind of nudging them,
right?
Let's go. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or, maybe their mom or something of the sort, a parental figure might be nudging them. But why do you think the older generation is so like rooted in this? No, I don't need to go. Why I don't need to go? Because they have that, that mentality. No, I can't. I can do this myself.
Right.
I could fix it myself. Like, why do you think that's still there?
Yes, and I think it has a lot to do with the historical and the systemic issues that Black people and Black men have faced. There was a large part of the history that integrated survival as a norm
Yeah.
and required a lot of resilience to come forth from them trying to survive in adversities, right? Because of the systemic barriers. So in that way, it's like, okay, if you can overcome these systemic um, disadvantages, then you feel like you don't need anybody else. You have you, right?
So,
But at the same time, the systemic barriers, the messages also cause this level of toxic masculinity as well that, a strong man, a Black man, isn't vulnerable, he doesn't cry, he doesn't
yes.
have emotional experiences. He's just, a provider, a protector, and that's just, that's it, right?
Mhm.
Or not even a person. It's just completely dehumanized of you're just there to work, for example.
Mhm.
And therefore there's no space for your mental health in that conversation. So I find a lot of the messages, because of history, has been internalized. And again, if we're talking older generation, a large part of our history is not that far away, right? It's still very much nearby. And that belief system that got them through that time is still on repetition to some degree during our times now. Um, so I
It's
find,
unfortunate too. I think that's really unfortunate because if they feel that all they're supposed to do is just provide and they're not allowed to have feelings,
right,
like that's kind of scary actually, because eventually if you keep everything bottled up, which I'm sure you're fully aware, you're gonna explode. Like you have to
definitely,
vent, you have to get these things out, and men, women, whomever, but especially Black men, because like you said, they're raised to be that provider. They're supposed to be strong, and like you said, Black men don't cry, and we've got to be, tough, and we've got to, it's, and then that trickles down too sometimes from the older gentleman the generation to it trickles down to the younger generation. You have the younger folks might be thinking the exact same thing. I saw my grandfather like this, or I saw my father like this, so this is how I need to be. And somewhere along the line, the cycle has to be broken, right? So
exactly,
it's really
exactly.
unfortunate. Yeah.
It is unfortunate, and it goes to show you only teach what you know,
Yes.
right? Which is where intergenerational trauma can come in. I'm sure the intention is good because again, the resilience is so undefeated, right? And that is something to feel proud of, but it's also unrealistic to sustain that you don't have mental health or even health in general. Black men tend to wait until it's an absolute last resort because that's also what they learn in the system, right? That survival is a function, and until that breaks, this is just the norm.
Yeah, and we shouldn't wait for it to break before we get help, right?
Yes, yes, exactly.
Another thing that I've noticed, and I've heard as well, whether it's through friends, family, whomever, religion. So turn to religion, pray about it. God
Right.
will take care of it. You're feeling this particular way, pray about it. You feel, and, nothing against religion, nothing against prayers, but how do you feel in terms of someone diagnosing, prayer and religion to quote unquote take care of it, as opposed
Mhm.
to actually seeking help, reaching out to someone like yourself or someone who could actually help this person going through this mental health crisis or whatever, whether it's depression, what have you. Like, how do you feel about prescribing religion instead of actual help?
Yeah, which is it's a great question. I mean, especially when we're talking about the ACB community, right? Like faith is embedded in culture, right? It's not even
Definitely.
just religion, but it's a cultural norm.
Mhm.
And that language is so exposed. And I think it's so important to, yes, definitely empower faith. Like it's such a powerful tool and coping mechanism that can get someone through hard times.
Yes.
But what I always share when it comes to this question is that with therapy and talking about mental health, acknowledging that it exists, it's really about the integration and not the replacement of.
I love that. I love that.
So I would say they can work together. They can absolutely work together. And I think a lot of people actually use faith for their mental health, but we're not calling it mental health. We're just calling it culture, right? Or obligation, or their actual faith, Christianity or Catholic, however people feel aligned. But the integration is very key when it comes to supporting yourself to heal. Praying is absolutely powerful, but also if you need to talk through something, that too can be almost as powerful.
I love that. I love the fact that it's not supposed to be a replacement. It could be working, hand in hand in tandem with seeking actual help and let's turn to religion. I think that's very important. As I said to you before, prior to this interview, I had a kidney transplant, and 7, 8 years ago, coming up actually, and faith was very strong. Like that was like, besides my mom and my daughter, my husband, that was the backbone. Like religion, faith, prayers. That was like that was just the anchor for myself and my mom. Like she is continuously, even to this day, even after the fact, I'm up, I'm about, I'm healthy, I'm going here, there, everywhere, and she's still praying. She's still praying for us. She's praying for the kidney, that it continues to thrive. You know what I mean? So religion and faith is very important. So I like how you said it works hand in hand. It's not supposed to replace anything. It works in tandem, hand in hand, and that's perfect. I love that.
Yes, and congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
All your blessings.
Thank you. Always take the blessings. Love it. Love it.
Yes.
Since religion is such a big part of the ACB community, do you feel that perhaps pastors or that the church could do a little bit more in terms of mental health in the ACB community? Because like you said, religion is very important to the ACB community. And since we're always suggesting religion, pray about it, and what have you, what do you think in terms of pastors and the church? Do you feel that they could do more in terms of whether promoting mental health, or what do you think?
Yes, I do think they can do more. Granted, there are some pastors that definitely have taken that progressive perspective or language of understanding that depression, for example, is real. But they can do more. They can do more in just normalizing the conversation, normalizing the lingo of anxiety or depression. Even in the Bible, it says, "Be anxious for nothing."
Yes.
Right. But anxious. That word is there.
Yes.
So there is an understanding of people still go through emotional experiences. And there's so many biblical stories about people going through emotional experiences and needing someone to talk to, right? Yes, we can definitely include and need to include God into the journey if that is someone's faith. But also acknowledging that a friend has also been there, someone that you can trust, a mentor, that was then, but now therapists can also be here to hear and walk with you in the physical.
Yes.
So I really do think it's huge to bring in the language, especially because it's, pastors are big figures.
Yes.
Right? So they're very highly influential, and education is everything, and normalizing is everything, especially to our people.
Even in the church, like most churches have like church basements, they could have, like a mental health, day where someone's there come on in, someone you can talk to, pick up some pamphlets, brochures if you don't feel comfortable speaking to someone here and now. Come in, pick up a pamphlet, give them a call later, or something of the sort. Just
Right.
I agree that they can be, more integral with this, because we turn to them, so that would be a perfect place to go to for help if they don't feel comfortable coming to, a therapist one-on-one. That's a perfect place to reach out to someone, and then circles back to a therapist some way, shape, or form, right?
Yes, exactly. Honestly, like education is so important, which is also why at One Piece Therapy we offer free psychoeducational webinars of talking about various mental health concerns that allow people to just think and reflect a bit more, and just understanding without commitment of, oh, like I do experience this, and I do want someone to talk to while I also read scripture, while I also pray, while I also go to church. It really needs to be normalized, and it does start with highly influential figures.
Yes, I agree. And it also starts with destigma, like taking away the stigma from these things, right? Because right now, as recent as last week, there's those words that get tossed around like, oh, that person, their head's gone, they're mad. I heard, her grandmother deals with obia or voodoo, and that's the why she's acting this way. And you know what I mean? Like all of that stuff behind it. And that doesn't make it easy either for someone to come forward.
Definitely
Right?
not.
Yeah, they're hearing all this stuff, So
Yeah.
how would you advise someone that's in that situation where they're hearing all this negativity that, oh, the devil has their hand on him and that's the reason why he's acting this way? Hearing all this negativity from family and friends and loved ones, how do you encourage someone in that position to actually come forth and take that step, kind of ignore the noise and come forward? Like, what would you suggest to that person?
Yeah, that's also a great question. Well, the beautiful thing about technology, because it definitely has its pros and cons,
Yes,
but the
100%.
beautiful thing about it is you can listen to podcasts such as, the Green Table Talk.
There you go.
You could listen to a lot of things online. Not that I would say, take it, as, word. Um, but there's a lot of things out there that opens up the dialogue to understanding what mental health is, what it means, how it can show up for you. So even not getting too lost into the external, the societal messages, but really embracing that internal message that's saying, I'm feeling something and I want to know what it is. I want to know more about it. Just looking online of different mental health topics or practices, and really reading and understanding from your own perspective what mental health is, and what your needs are, actually, before even what mental health is. What are your needs, right? And not what are people telling you to do. And I think with that too, it's also important that people understand that mental health is health, right? Like we're so familiar with physical health, our headaches or stomach aches, like just the common things, that we don't realize that mental health is just as common, like it's
And just as important, just as important. Yes.
Definitely. Even the simple but a miraculous thing of waking up in the morning, right? And your mental health is immediately what decides how quick are you going to get out of bed or not, or what is the next thing you're going to do? Is it hygiene related? Is it phone related? Like that's all mental, right? So I think it's important that that is also understood, that it's part of you and does also need to be taken care of.
Agreed. Just like, we wake up, for example, you might have a headache, right? So we have a headache, you might see how long it goes, but eventually you might end up taking something for the headache, right? You feel sick, you feel like you might have a cold, it's been lingering for a little bit too long. You'll go to the doctor, see if they can, or you might even take something yourself. You might have like cough medicine or something at home. You'll address that situation. You don't just leave it. So why would we leave our mental health and just, whatever thoughts we might be having going through our mind or how we're feeling, we shouldn't neglect that. That's just as important as, taking something for the headache or taking care of that cold or what have you, So it's something it's just as important. So it shouldn't be neglected, right?
Exactly. Yes. Yes. And I know it's hard to not use the terms like crazy or mad or you're sick or you're this or it's hard. Um, but I mean to start those, even though we can't say it's funny, depends who we're talking to. Sometimes it's
Exactly, right?
I think, the first step is let's just accept that as humor and not reality.
Exactly.
I think that that's important to differentiate when a joke starts and ends, even though
Yes.
I also heard the saying that every joke has some truth to it.
Yes.
As
Yep.
well. But yeah, it's important to understand what is a joke and what is your actual life being met.
Yes. Yeah. Agreed. And I remember, speaking of deciding, what's humor and how far it should go, I remember I was talking to my cousin and we would just sit there and we just laugh because back in the days we were kids and we were bad and we got our ass bust because we did things we shouldn't have done, right? We can laugh about that now.
Right.
At that time, not so, not
It
so
was not
much.
funny at all. It was
No.
terrifying.
Right, exactly. But now we could laugh. I could make fun of him and say, you used to get your ass bust more than me, like all that stuff, that little banter back and forth, right?
Yeah.
So, and not everybody would get that. Not everybody would understand that joke. You do, you're Caribbean descent. You understand what I'm talking about, right?
Right.
So, you think you said, know how far we should go and who you're talking to about it. So,
Yes, definitely.
another question for you. There is a shortage in Black doctors in our community or in the GTA, not even the community, the GTA. There's a shortage of Black doctors. And it's been proven that we feel comfortable, we as an ACB community feel comfortable going to a Black doctor because we feel they'll understand us more. They'll see where we're coming from. I mean, they'll see us in a different light.
Right.
This is like a two-part question. So the first part is, what needs to be done to have more Black doctors come forth or more Black doctors be there, be accessible? Is it, I don't know if they're just all completely booked or it's just their plates are too full and they can't take on anymore. So what needs to be done in that sense of having more Black practitioners available for us?
That's a good question.
I try to come with good questions, girl. I don't want to come and put you to sleep.
Yeah, really go.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, it's okay. What can be done?
I don't know if it's.
Heidi, chime in. I think you know what? It's as much as there are a lot more Black people understanding that we need representation, and sometimes it starts with you. So even Black women, for example, we're one of the, I think we're the highest educated ethnicity there is. And there is that understanding of you need to be there. You need to do more. You need to be that voice, be that face. You need to do the things. And I think there's value in wanting to be that person.
Yes.
So the book then busy is very real as well. And with that, it's like you're there, but you also have to be there for yourself. And therefore the access to you can be challenging sometimes. Yes. Or even sometimes it's even the resources that's available to someone even pursuing a career in health, for example. That pathway doesn't feel as accessible, right, or doable for various reasons depending on their background. So there's so many factors, Janine. There's so many factors, whether it's the resources that we start with or the support to keep doing it, or when you're in it. you only have a certain amount of access to you because you're on demand. And yeah, it's challenging, but I think what it does say at the end of the day is that we are needed. Um, because when you are able to see someone that looks like you already know there's so much things you don't have to deal with.
And you don't have to explain, and you don't have to, take the time and go through the details of, that's very true.
Exactly. The context is already applied, and therefore there's more likely to be less misdiagnosis, right? Misunderstandings. There's more quality care given when you see a physician or a practitioner that looks like you. The demand is so high.
Yes.
And the resources are not there. So maybe this is a government question.
Yeah. I think it is. I think it is. Do you think that if we educated other doctors, like Caucasian doctors, for example, educated them more about us and what we are like, do you think that might help? Like that would kind of steer some of the ACB community towards a Caucasian doctor, perhaps?
Yes. Yeah, I definitely think, especially in the interim and to make care more inclusive and of quality, a culturally sensitive approach can go a long way. Even if you don't understand, naturally, it's even asking the right questions can help with understanding who you're talking to. So absolutely, education goes a long way for us, for others, for the world to go round, right? Is really bringing people's attention to how important it is to integrate their background into how they are showing up in front of you.
How do you feel the ACB community is treated differently compared to, say, the Caucasian or the Asian community? Like, how are we treated differently compared to them? Unfortunately, treated differently.
Yes. Well, there's actually large disparities of how Black people are treated in healthcare, and that is both in access and in quality of care. So I find that, not even research shows that Black people are often misdiagnosed, misunderstood in the healthcare. And we have to tie it back to the historical events that happened, because Black people endured so much in certain times in history. And during those times, there was a lot of desensitization, neglect, dismissal, minimizing, even punishments. There was so much things that went against receiving even the basic needs that they needed. And that has heavily become embedded into the healthcare system. Not understanding that we too have feelings. We too can feel pain. We too have a threshold that exists. Right. We too are human. It's alarming how less, I don't even know the words right now, Janine. It's shocking.
Yeah, I get it.
Alarming.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot. And it's not always recognized either, right? Like some people don't even think the story, which you're saying right now, is real. Like some people don't even think that this is a legit thing, that we've gone through so much. And that's a good reason, or it's just a good reason. That's one of the reasons why we are the way we are, and why we're very hesitant with going to another doctor that doesn't look like us, because out of fear, out of all the things that happened previously, so I can see, I understand where you're coming from. I get it. And I think that's, it's a lot.
It is a lot. It is a lot.
It's a lot.
which
And
is
unfortunately, that's one of the we're treated differently from like day one, unfortunately. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but
okay.
yeah, from day one.
Yeah, from day one, from point of contact, already there is a stigma and level of prejudice that is put on us, right?
Mhm.
And as you said, it's already challenging to seek help in the first place.
Yes.
But then knowing that there's going to be barriers of who's going to believe your story, for
Yes.
example, or who would even take advantage of your story or your autonomy or your anatomy.
Mhm.
Um, it's so challenging to find practitioners outside of the ones that look like us.
Mhm.
To really understand what we're going through, which again, yes, educating about the culturally responsive nature in healthcare and how that's so important is like it is crucial. But representation as well is a necessity for trust and a voice and understanding to also be circulated and created as a norm.
Mhm. That was very deep. That was a lot. That was,
It
you know what I
was a
mean?
lot.
I felt heavy with that one. I asked that question and I knew it could open a can of worms, but I said I have to ask because
Yeah,
that's our reality.
right.
That's the ACB community's reality. It's been our reality for some time. So I said, we have to address that. So I'm glad you did that very, very articulately.
I
So
tried. I had to
yes.
scratch my head a couple of times. 'Cause I'm like,
You
okay,
did
I'm
that
gonna try.
beautifully.
Thank
So
you.
now it's a light situation now. We have this
Okay.
person who's decided, you know what? I need help. I
Yeah.
know I need help. Something's not right. I need
Yeah.
to speak to someone, someone live. Yes, of course, they could always turn to the ACB, YouTube channel. They could turn to the Green Table Talk, but I want to speak to someone in person.
Yes.
What do you suggest their first step should be? I mean, do they scroll through I was gonna say the yellow pages, kind of giving my age. But
Google is
there
now the
you
yellow
go.
page.
Do you suggest they just Google, and see what they can find? Like, what do you
Right.
suggest? What's your advice?
Yeah, I would say to first start by normalizing their feeling. I don't know if that is already implied at this part or not, but I
Mhm.
think definitely just normalizing that it's okay that you need support, right? Like it doesn't
Mhm.
have to be something frantic. It doesn't have to be taboo. It doesn't have to be shameful. It's just normalizing like, okay, I'm here, and even allowing the feelings of empowerment to come from that decision of not only understanding yourself and your needs, but being willing to do something about it.
Mhm.
Um, I think Google is also a very good step.
Not the yellow pages.
Not the Yellow
Google.
Pages. I think there's the Yellow Pages app as well. I think
Is
we
there? Okay. I'm not that old then. Okay.
I think so. I think so. Um, but yes, doing your research as well, like knowing what you're looking for, right? There's so many different practices now that offer, whether it's online or in-person support, uh, different modalities such as emotion focused therapy or cognitive behavioral. So even maybe doing a bit of research there.
Mhm.
Um, just do your research. I know at One Piece Therapy, we do offer a complimentary meet and greet, which is like a consultation. So sometimes, accepting, okay, I'm ready is all clients feel they want to do at this point. The research is too overwhelming. There's too many things. So maybe just let me just book an appointment and then ask the questions
Yes.
instead of Google and go down a rabbit hole of what you can
Mhm.
find. So even that, accessing the services that are complimentary. So maybe you get your feet wet and you feel more comfortable in knowing that the space is entirely for you.
Yeah.
Um, And there is so much strength in showing up for you, and there's literally no weakness to me.
And it's okay to not be okay.
Exactly.
Right? There's nothing wrong with that. And if someone does take advantage of your free services, they might not know like 100% what's going on. They just know that they don't feel right. Something's off. So even they come and they sit and speak with yourself or someone at your facilities, or they might realize, oh, wait a second, you're describing me. Wait a second. Oh, maybe I do have X, Y, and Z, or maybe I am dealing with A, B, C. Right. So actually speaking to someone could actually give them more clarity as to what could be happening with them.
Exactly.
So that's something that they could definitely take advantage of. And I will, at the end of this episode, they will see your information and your website, so they can definitely reach out to you and get, any type of assistance. Like you said, it's a safe space. No judgments, definitely a safe space.
Yes. And it's so important to also know that it's a conversation, right? Like we don't typically use a lot of psychobabble of this and that as the hippocampus.
Oh boy. But what now?
Yeah, right. We don't say all of that. We do that even if, especially being from the Caribbean, we'll speak patois, we'll speak whatever dialect that we both can understand.
Yes.
It doesn't have to be rigid. It doesn't have to be formal. It's a conversation about you for you. And it's so freeing to have a space that you can just be yourself in.
I remember seeing a video on your website, and it was yourself, and you're just literally saying that some people think that when they come to you, there has to be something wrong, like, but you were saying in the video, this is your time, this is your space. We can talk about anything. We can talk about your successes. We can talk about anything you want. If you want to come and talk about mental health issues or talk about what you're feeling, that's fine. But we could also talk about achievements. We could talk about your successes. We could talk about what happened in your day. We can talk. It doesn't always have to be sad or upsetting or anything of the sort. It's your space, your time, which I loved when I saw that, because there are times that something happens and you just want to like shout it from the rooftops. Right? You want to tell someone. It's exactly. So that's what I love, which I think is a great idea. And I think what you're doing is an amazing thing. You and your team over at One Piece Therapy, you're doing great advertisement, because every time I'm in my car and every time I turn on that radio, it doesn't matter which station. One Piece Therapy, One Piece Therapy, 2 stations I've heard it on, 2, urban stations. Yes. I'm not going to mention any names, but I've heard it.
That's
I've heard it on 2 stations while I'm in the car. So you're doing a great job. So thank you very much to you and your team, because I know you're not doing it by yourself. So to you and your team, thank you very much.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate the flowers. We love flowers in the spring, especially.
Right?
Thank you.
Exactly. So
such a pleasure.
This is the time where I will give you my nugget of knowledge. So it's a quote that I found that I feel represents you or represents your story or your journey or what have you. So I saw this quote and I'm like, yeah, this is my girl, Cassandra. I'm gonna put this in the show for her. Okay. So this is your quote. When we give cheerfully and accept gratefully, everyone is blessed. And that is a quote from Maya Angelou. So when we give cheerfully and accept gratefully, everyone is blessed. You are giving. You are giving yourself and then some. Like the beginning of the intro, everything that you do, your title just goes on and on and on. You do all of these things. You're smiling. You're proud. You're very proud of your achievements. You want to do more. Like you said, you want to lower the age limit where younger kids can come in for therapy. You could have just said, nope, we'll stop at 10. You know what I mean? But you recognize there's a need. And so you're continuously giving of yourself. And your return shall be great. Guaranteed, your return shall be great. So thank you. Thank you for all that you do.
Oh, that's so beautiful. What a gift to give.
You're welcome. You're welcome. You deserve it, girl. Take your flowers. There you go.
Oh, we love it.
This is you. This is you.
Amazing.
Yes.
Oh, I'm speechless. Thank you, Janina. I love that.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
That.
And we love the fact that you're here with us today. And thank you for making time for joining us on the Green Table Talk. We love this. So thank you.
Thank you. It's a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Yes. Thank you for joining us in the Green Table Talk. And we'll see you again next time. Bye-bye.
Green Table Talk, hey.